Stuart Warren Woodworks.
My dad spent much of his life in and out of jails. When I was a kid, the only time I really saw him, he was working on houses, fixing things, building things. Years later, I became a corrections chaplain working in jails myself. And somewhere along the way, I realized that woodworking had become more than a hobby for me. It was therapy. It was stability. It was building something solid in a world that often is not. This channel is about turning that into something real. I'm Stuart Warren, corrections chaplain by day, realtor, and woodworker by night. Most of you watching probably know me and parts of my story, if not the whole thing. As I continue to build Stuart Warren Woodworks, I wanted to put a shorter version of my story out into the atmosphere, partially to share with those who don't know me, but also to explain why this is important to me. Now, as I mentioned, growing up, I rarely saw my dad. My parents divorced not long after I was born, and he spent most of his life, or at least that part of my life, in and out of jails and later on prison. My mom remarried, and I've been incredibly blessed with an awesome stepdad. But I still love my dad. No matter how much he struggled in his life, he was my dad. And as a kid, when I did get some time with him, he was working on houses, odd jobs, repairs, renovations. I was young, mostly just tagging along and watching. But I was also learning. And I didn't realize it then, but those moments stuck. Years later, when my wife and I got married right out of college, we didn't have a lot of money. So I built what we needed: makeshift pallet furniture, Christmas gifts. I did home repairs myself. Those early experiences with my dad were transformative. They quietly gave me those abilities and what I do now with Stuart Warren Woodworks to create. If I hadn't had those moments with my dad as a child, I wouldn't have the skills I rely on today. Fast forward a few years, I was working on my PhD at the University of Cincinnati. I had finished comprehensive exams, I was deep into my dissertation, and my wife and I started having kids. We needed more income than what I was getting as a college student, and a CEO role had opened up locally for a jail ministry in Cincinnati. I submitted my resume, I sent over a cover letter, and I gave them a 10-year plan on how I would both tackle the mission but broaden their larger goals to take God's message of hope to those who are in jail. People like my dad. Taking that job ended my dissertation. Eventually, I made peace with that. Academia would have required relocating my family, and that wasn't the life we wanted. Now, as our family grew, I needed some stable income and medical coverage. So I loved the ministry role that I was in. Even one life had changed. If even one kid like me got to grow up without having to visit their mom or dad behind glass, doing video visits, waiting on phone calls or letters, that alone would have been worth ending the dissertation, the PhD, and everything that I had to give up along the way. But small ministries and nonprofits don't always have big budgets, and often they don't. And in my case, we weren't able to get medical coverage through my role. About 4 years ago, another local jail created a role for me, knowing I was transitioning out of my CEO position. I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity. It continues even today to provide benefits for my gigantic family. It helped me uncover and discover some unknown medical conditions that were very fixable but needed to be fixed, and also provides much needed financial stability for our growing family. But corrections is not an easy world. That's true of anyone who works in the first responder or medical world in general. I deeply respect every officer, deputy, and staff member who makes a career in corrections. It's demanding, exhausting, and often takes a toll on physical and mental health. I'm not personally a sworn officer. I don't face the same pressures they do. But even in a civilian role, I've reached a point where I just need a healthier path forward. And that's where real estate and woodworking have come in. I love helping families. I love helping families find homes that they'll grow in. I love seeing potential in properties and helping people make smart decisions with their financial futures and investments. And I also love woodworking. I love creating something durable, useful, and beautiful. Something that stands in contrast to the throwaway furniture and disposable culture that we have. I love that woodworking gives me a space to decompress, to think, to build something solid when the world feels heavy. When I started this journey, I knew I wanted to document my path. Not just the polished pieces, but the growth, the mistakes, the process of building something from the ground up. I'll be sharing my progress from this garage, my makeshift workshop. So as I grow Stuart Warren Woodworks, you'll see the wins, the struggles, the failures, the lessons, and that growth in real time. While most YouTubers like to show a polished project, unrealistically tidy workshops, and maybe talk about business as if everything is right in the world, I know that's not reality. Life is messy, like that messy workbench behind me. Life is complicated. And having a messy, complicated life doesn't mean we don't have a handle on things. It means we're normal. If you've ever thought about building something of your own, whether that's furniture, a business, or maybe a new direction in life, I hope you'll follow along with me, my normal, messy, complicated life. If my journey can help you take a step forward in your own, then it's worth sharing. Now, subscribe if you want to see where this goes. And if you're building something too, well, share that in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Let's build something together.